about today. Hi, I'm Rohas Nagpal and welcome to episode 1 of How Crypto Works. The first thing that you've got to understand is that crypto is very different from any other asset that you invest in. If you buy a house or a piece of real estate, you actually get physical possession. Or if you buy, say, some amount of gold, you may actually get a gold coin or a gold brick. But crypto is very different in the sense that it is entirely virtual. So you're not going to get anything physical. Now let's take an example that I have a small amount of ETH or Ether, one of the most popular cryptocurrencies. And what you're looking at right now is a software wallet called MetaMask. Now here you can see that it shows that 0.0269 ETH, which is roughly about $78 as of right now, is held by this wallet. But what does that mean? Does it mean that that amount of ETH is actually in the laptop where this particular wallet is installed? No. What this means is that somewhere on the Ethereum blockchain, which is a global network of computers, there are thousands of computers connected to it. Somewhere in the records of that blockchain is the record of a particular address. Now, an address very simply could mean something like, in the real world, you have a bank account. In the virtual world, we could call it a crypto address. So here you can see a small part of it. If I click on it, it copies it onto my clipboard. So on the Ethereum blockchain, it would state that this particular address has a certain amount of ETH as balance. But if I actually want to see how that works, like can I have a look at this blockchain? Definitely I can. So in the world of crypto, what you've got to understand is everything is very transparent. So if a particular transaction has happened, you will be able to find it on the blockchain at any given point of time in the future. And for that, we use something called a blockchain explorer, like what you can see right now. So I'm using something called Etherscan, which is a blockchain explorer for the Ethereum network. And this is the address that I control, not own, control. And I'll explain why that's different. Now, it shows that this particular address has a balance of 0.0269 ETH. How did this balance come? And if I scroll down, I can see that there was a particular transaction which took place about 944 days ago. So that's like several years ago. There was a transaction in which this particular address sent the ETH to this particular address, which is the one that I control right now. And this was the amount of ETH in that. This was the transaction fee that I paid. So this information is very easily available to me. And that is why we say that blockchains are very transparent. Every single transaction which ever takes place is shown to you. Now, obviously, the next question in your head would be okay, why do we say that we don't own an account and we only control it? The reason for that is every crypto account is controlled by a private key, which is a number. Let me show you what that looks like. So here on the screen, you'd be able to see that this is a random address of Ethereum, and this is something called the public key. Let's forget it for now. This is the critical thing, which is called the private key. So it's actually just a number. Whoever has this number controls the wallet or those ETH which are lying in the wallet. So if somebody else gets hold of this, they could type this in into the right wallet and they could transfer all the assets out. And that's why we don't own the wallet, we control the wallet by having this private key with us. Now, if we go back to the example of MetaMask that I was showing you earlier, it's exactly the same thing. Only instead of showing you that key in a simple numeric format, we've got to do a little bit more where we can go and say account details. Here it shows us our address and here it says show private key. If I was to click on that, then it would display the private key on the screen and then anybody could control that wallet and take the ETH out of it. I hope this concept's clear. If you're having any difficulties, just put them as a comment and I'll answer them. Having understood this, let's go to the next step. Let's try to actually generate a key pair and see how that works. So for that, I'm going to show you something called as bit address. And this makes it very easy to create Bitcoin keys. Now here, if you notice, if you look in the middle here, you see a number which is increasing. So right now it's at 15%. Now, as I keep moving the mouse randomly, it's going up. So it's reached 31. I can also type in some random alphabets here. And again, you see the numbers are going up. I need to get this to 100%. So what we are actually doing is we are creating random data, which is going to be used by this software running on bit address. And using that random data, it is going to generate a Bitcoin address and private key for us. So let me keep moving that around a bit. It's 56%. We need to get it to 100%. I can go back and type more. And any of you could try this out. Just go to bitaddress.org and we're almost at 100%. Now, when we reach 100%, let's give it a few seconds to do its magic. And now what it shows us are two very interesting things. The first is the Bitcoin address, and that's this one. And it says you can share it with anyone. Now, whenever somebody in the world sends you Bitcoin to this particular address, the only way for you to access those Bitcoins or to move them out is by using this secret key. So, this is the private key that you need to have. And if anybody else gets it, they can then control that Bitcoin wallet. Now, what do you do with these keys? A very simple way is you could simply print them out. You could actually write them on a piece of paper, or using so many softwares available, like including Bitaddress, you could simply print it out and keep it. But just remember, you're supposed to share the address, but never share the private key. Just like you share your bank account number, but you don't share your bank password and OTP. So if we were to print this out, we call it a paper wallet. If instead of printing it out, this data was inside a software wallet or a browser wallet like MetaMask, we would call it a software wallet, a browser wallet, or there are specialized hardware available, we could call it a hardware wallet. So that's how the whole concept of crypto keys and addresses works. Now, obviously, the next question that you may have is, why do people even lose control of this? I mean, under what situation are you supposed to give your keys to somebody? That usually happens when you want to trade. Now, using a crypto exchange, like you may have heard about Binance, for example, using a crypto exchange is fairly easy. So, a lot of people use crypto exchanges to quickly buy and sell crypto. Now, at that time, you've got to understand this system of keys which I showed you won't exist. You are trusting your entire cryptocurrency to that exchange. Your private keys don't come into the picture. And that is why, if the exchange shuts down or if the founders of the exchange decide to disappear, your crypto is gone. And that is why we say, not your keys, not your coins. Because if it's a crypto exchange using its own keys, it actually becomes their crypto. Of course, as long as they're honest, you get access to it. Now, one way around this is where you could use a decentralized exchange like Uniswap. So, for example, it makes it very easy for you to exchange, not as much as a centralized exchange, but still fairly simple. Now, how this would work is I would open up Uniswap. I don't need to create an account or anything. I simply need to connect my wallet. So, the same MetaMask that I showed you, a couple of clicks and it connects to Uniswap. Now, here I can enter how much of ETH I want to sell, and in return, what is it that I'm actually looking to buy. So let's say I want to get USDT, which is US dollar backed. So it's a dollar per USDT. So it says you would be able to get about 29.2598 USDT. And then all I would do is click on the swap. And what would then happen when I click on this swap is the ETH from my account goes away to somebody else, and the USDT from that person's account comes to my account. And then I could go to Etherscan and I would be able to see this transaction. And it would show me that, okay, ETH has gone out from your account, USDT has come into your account. So I'm able to do the trade without losing control of my private key. I hope this concept was clear. Whatever questions you have, please feel free to put them here. In the next episode, we'll start to go a little deeper. We'll look at the various famous cryptocurrencies that are there. We'll go into each one of them. We'll also look at some of the interesting crypto metrics. So stay tuned.